Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Julie and this is episode 32 of Stitched from my stash. My channel is about sewing, knitting, crochet and patchwork, and I may do a little bit of chit chat this morning about life things, see how much time I've got. I'm aiming for about 30 minutes, but hey ho, I might go over that. A special hello to my Uncle Ray if he's watching. He had a quick look at my quilting video last week, so hi Ray if you're watching. A special hello to everybody else as well. Thank you so much for joining me, for subscribing, for commenting. It's nice to have you along to keep me company. I'm going to crack on because I don't have much time this morning. First of all, what am I wearing? It's a t-shirt that I made yesterday using this pattern. I will put the patterns in the description below, and I've made quite a lot of these over the years. I will put a photograph here of me standing wearing the t-shirt. I used some striped cotton jersey that I had bought quite a while ago in Abercorn in North Wales, and I had made a striped t-shirt. It's actually on my Instagram a couple of years back, I don't know, 4 years back, but at the time my daughter-in-law, one of my daughter-in-laws, wanted to wear the same as her little daughter, so I said take it. They both had stripy t-shirts on, which is fine. So I've just about salvaged enough to make the front and back out of the stripe, and then I've used this organic cotton that my sister-in-law gave me for the sleeves, and it's very comfy, and I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it. I used, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of fabric, and I used my overlocker for the sides and the raglan, and then my main sewing machine for the neckline, the waist and the cuff. Now there's no ribbing around the collar, and I quite like that. I like the way it sits. These are a bit gapey, but that's fine. It's a nice comfy feel. Somebody asked ages ago about my overlocker, and I'll put a photo here of the overlocker I use, and it's one I bought, oh blimey, 10 years ago off a friend. It was actually her mother's, and her mother wasn't using it, so we went to her house and she offered to sell it to me just when I'd started dressmaking. I'd finished work, etc. So that's my overlocker, and it's pretty good. Luckily I had white thread in it yesterday, so I didn't need to change the thread. That might have scuppered my plans. It is a quick make, and I would highly recommend this pattern. There are a variety of versions on there, but it is a nice go-to pattern. So I have my list here, so I am going to tick off what I'm wearing. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a finished item, and it's going to be baby crochet blanket. I say it's finished. I haven't woven in the ends yet. I keep taking my glasses off. It's a bit dark up here today, and I've put the overhead spotlights on and there's a lot of glare. Anyway, this is the baby blanket, which I'm pleased with. It's I suppose like a pram cover, or a little baby when they're in those little seat carrier things in the car. And I started off with 2 rows of each colour. Well, I started off with a white, then 2 rows, but I found I didn't have enough yarn to carry on with that colour combination. So I looked through my stash and I found this, I don't know, it's like a light peachy brownie, and I thought that tones in. So I changed the combination to 2, 4, 2, 4, and that then gave me plenty to finish. I think is quite a nice size. It's, I suppose, granny clusters they're called, and this is the first time I've done a striped version, so I'm pleased with this. It's all acrylic yarn from my stash, and it's, I think I used a 4mm hook. It's quite thick double knitting, hence I didn't have a lot of that sort of thicker weight. So they were the colour combinations I had. And then it's, I think it's a double crochet, or I can't remember, single crochet. I get confused. I'm new to crocheting. Round the edge to tie it in. And then I have these ends to weave in. I did weave some of the ends in as I went along, but not all of them. So that's a finished item, which I think is a really cheery set of colours. Just going to put that there when I show what I have left of this lighter colour yarn. So this is a tub I have of, so I suppose, peach, salmon, the mauve, a little bit of the pink and some white. So what I'm going to do now is choose what I've got out of these colours to make a baby hat and a baby cardigan, newborn size, to donate to the knitting group in the village, which doesn't meet over the summer, so I have plenty of time. Get those done. I think September they start meeting again. So I'll have fun choosing colour combinations to make a little pull-on hat and a little cardigan to go with the baby blanket. So I'm pleased with that. I must tie in the ends as well. So that's a finished item. Anything else I need to say on that? No. So I'm going to tick that off. The other couple of finished items I have are mending items. So I've darned some more socks, which I think look cute, but they do take quite a while with my speed weaver, which I was going to show, but it's over there. It's a little device, I'll show it next time, that enables you to make fairly neat weaving on small items, or a small mend on a sweater or blanket, whatever. So I did those, which are nice colour combination anyway. So they're done, can go back in the sock drawer. These, which are a little bit getting beyond being mended. And I added, I think, a patch to the back. And a back to the back of that. I suppose there comes a point where they get too thin to be mended. But when do I decide they patch too much? So that's another pair of socks of mine to go back in the sock drawer. So that's those. The other piece of mending was a pair of climbing trousers for Andrew to go rock climbing. And I'll add a photograph here of the patch that I did using some fabric from my stash, which I think is almost a upholstery weight fabric that I bought fairly early on in my sewing journey. And I made a pair of trousers out of it, but I didn't like the design and the fabric didn't suit. So I've kept the fabric, deconstructed the trousers and kept the fabric for patches, etc. So it's really good for patching, like these climbing trousers that take a lot of tough work, I suppose. So I put a photo of the patching, and I will also put a photo, if Andrew has one suitable, of him climbing. He went for 2 days overnight up in the Scottish hills somewhere. And that's a bit of a bone of contention. Not him going, but the lack of communication. And I was getting worried. We had words. Anyway, I will put the photograph up of him climbing, and he was pleased with them. And he said it held and whatever, a good use of the fabric patch. So I'm going to tick off my mending, darning, and the climbing trousers. So the other thing I'm going to show is the red quilt that I've been slowly working on. But I have done 2 rows out of, it's going to be 5 rows. So I'll hold this up and see how effective that is. So that's what I've done so far. Let's see, I think that's the top. Is it? No. Where are we going? Anyway, I think that's going to be the top. Oh, never mind, Julie. So there's 3 different versions of the stars, and I think that's going to be fab. And I'm really looking forward to what this is going to look like finished. The fabrics are the red I bought specifically for quilting, but never, this red here I bought specifically for quilting, but never got around to using it till now. The others, I think, are remains of other projects or something I've taken apart to reuse for this red. So I think that's going to be really super. It's for the little put up futon I have in here in my sewing room, because I think it'll look nice. Just because. Why do we make quilts? Just because. So that's I'm going to put that there to keep that on show. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the little bit of patchwork I've done. First of all, I use a 1/4 inch foot. My quilts are not perfect, but I do use a 1/4 inch foot. And because I use a 1/4 inch foot, I have to adjust where the needle is positioned on the machine. So I did forget to reposition the needle and I broke a needle. But I have lots of needles, but that was one thing that happened. I used red thread from my stash, so I'm getting through quite a lot of the red thread, which is good because I want to get through a lot of my stuff. And I also used this little quilting extension table that came with my Burda sewing machine. And it is quite good when you are working with larger pieces of fabric. Obviously, I'm not quilting now, I'm just making the patchwork top. But I found that useful as a way of, it slots into your machine and it just gives you a bit more working space. Mine's just an ordinary domestic machine, but it does have a few quilting attachments and things to it. So I used that, and I think that's it about the red quilt so far. I'm going to try and do a bit more this week because I think it's going to be really nice finished. So I think that's all my sewing making for this week. I'm just going to do a little bit of chit chat. So if you don't want chit chat, see you next time. So the chit chat is going to be about me getting out. I go into hermit mode and I find it difficult to go out. And we've lived in this house in Scotland, just north of Glasgow, for 1.5 years now. And we moved from a beautiful little valley in North Wales, which was very quiet, absolutely stunning. But it was time to move on, variety of reasons. And the village we're in now is lovely. The people are nice. What have I got to grumble about? I'm not grumbling. But it could be, I don't know, the upheaval of the move, starting afresh. But I found it very difficult to get out and do stuff. And the less I do, the less I want to do. So on Saturday, when Andrew was away doing his climbing, I thought, go for it. And I've actually joined a local sports centre. And I was actually nervous about going in and interacting, etc. So the woman on the reception couldn't have been more welcoming. So I've joined. Very good joining fees for people over 60. And I've committed to doing some classes this week. I've got something like it's called easy senior exercise, yoga classes, and I have a gym induction on Wednesday. And I was thinking, I don't think I've ever been in a gym. I've done bits of exercise, bits of running, hill walking, badminton many, many years ago, swimming, but I've not been like a consistent exerciser. And I think 65, use it or lose it. So I'm really excited about trying these classes. Hence, I'm off to one this morning. So that's why I'm trying to do a quick episode I really don't like rushing. It's one thing. I used to rush out of the house for work, getting the kids out, but I don't like rushing now. So this is a bit of a rush for me, but I'm really excited about that, to try. It's a focus to get out, and I really I really want to be doing some exercise. So that's a little bit of chit chat, which I'll keep you posted how the classes go. And the other thing, I just want to talk about reading. And for me, reading is a habit I am trying to foster. I've read bits and bobs over the years, but again, I got out of the habit. So I've really tried over the last couple of months to get back into reading. And this is one I've just finished. No, it's not. That's one I've just started. This is one I've just finished, which is a Karen Slaughter book, which is not for everybody. They are crime-based. And I don't know, I like the way, this one in particular, I think is a really good read, because I could follow the really not nice plot, but I could follow it and the characters. I think it is a Will Trent novel. And I've noticed on Disney Channel, which we don't have, but I noticed, because she was on Woman's Hour, Karen Slaughter was on Woman's Hour, a UK Radio 4 programme. She was on Woman's Hour being interviewed this week, and they were talking about, she was, I don't know, executive producer, or she wrote the script or whatever. So it is on Disney. As I said, we don't have it. I think my son has it, so I may choose to watch some of the series of the books I've read, because I've read a few of hers. As I said, they are murder based, rape based, so it's not, she doesn't go into details on the horrific incidents. And listening to her, I didn't know much about her, but I can see where she's coming from in terms of her worldview. So I just finished that one, and I did get a lot out of that. And I just started this one, which is a totally different, UK based. She's American, UK based, and it's about, so far, I call her a young woman, she's 40, who goes to look after her uncle's bookshop in London. And such a different vibe to this one, but I'm going to persevere. And for me, I have to get through quite a chunk to get into it, for most books anyway, and keep up with it. Otherwise, I will lose track of the characters, who's doing what. But I'm going to really persevere. I've read some others over the last couple of months, but I've either given them away or they were loaned off friends, so they've gone. So reading, I'm going to try. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, get my gym kit ready, and go off to my senior easy exercise, see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to try and work on my red quilt this week and start the crochet knitted items to go with that. Thanks very much for your company. Look after yourselves. Take care, and see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.